It is time now for Pick Six, our weekly segment here on SportsCenter, where we throw out 3 questions to an NFL player, and then they share 3 things with us that you, the viewer, do not yet know about them. Our guest this week, Panthers linebacker Luke Kuechly. And Luke, we appreciate you joining us here today. You know, Defensive Rookie of the Year last year. I know you already lead your team with 45 tackles this year. What has been the biggest difference for you in your sophomore season?
You know, I just think being comfortable with the defense, I think that's probably the biggest part of it. It's, you know, another year in the system, another year through OTAs, through camp, where you can kind of just understand the little small subtleties of the defense and just kind of pick up on small things that allow you to play a little better.
You know, you have been described, and I know that this started for you in college at BC, as Superman on the field, and then also as Clark Kent off of it. And I'm assuming that some of that is because of the glasses look that you sport. But where did that really come from for you?
I think, you know, it just started at BC. Guys picked it up and kind of ran with it. You know, you're 2 different people on and off the field. One, off the field, you're a normal guy, and then when you get on the football field, it just kind of changes. You develop into a different person, a competitive person, somebody that wants to win. So, you know, I get this kind of cool, you know, you're off the field, you're a different person, but on the field, you kind of change a little bit.
How has that translated with your Panthers teammates?
Well, you know, Cam's the Superman guy on our team. He's got the celebration when he gets a touchdown and everything. So it hasn't quite translated as much, but, you know, it's still there a little bit.
Do you try to tell him that you are the true Superman on the team?
You know, not really. You know, that's his deal. You know, he's got like I said, the celebration. But you know, some guys have pointed out here and there. But Cam's the Superman of our team right now. Speaking of
your quarterback, Cam Newton, what is one thing that you have come to learn about Cam that you find interesting and maybe surprising?
Surprising about Cam, he's got a ton of shoes. You know, he's got Under Armour shoes. He's got a ton of them. You know, he wears a different pair out for pregame. You know, sometimes they're green, sometimes they're, you know, neon, sometimes they're, you know, red, white, and blue. It just kind of depends on what he's feeling. But he's a big shoe guy, and you know, that's just one of his things.
All right, Luke Kuechly, now it's your turn. 3 down, 3 to go. It's our turn for our viewers to learn something that they did not know about you. So what is the first thing that they would find interesting?
Well, you know, I've grown up fishing with my family. You know, we've been to some pretty neat places fishing. We've been up to Alaska and Idaho and Canada. And, you know, one of the things we do is, you know, we fly fish. You know, we tie some of our own flies. And, you know, it's just something that's cool that gets our family together and that we enjoy doing.
How many fish is the most that you've caught in one sitting?
We went up to a place we go in northern Ohio, fly fishing. We caught 53 one day. It was a good day for us, yeah.
Did you eat them?
No, I let most of them go. You keep the big ones, but you let most of the small ones go.
All right. The second thing that our viewers would find surprising about you.
You know, and another thing too, I grew up with, you know, a dog. I had a black lab named Kip, you know, throughout my whole life. And, you know, I'm a dog guy. I don't have one right now, but I think, you know, down the line it'd be something cool to have, you know, either a lab or I think, you know, the German short hair pointers are some good looking dogs.
What is it about football players and dogs? Because everyone we've had on here has talked about their pet or about the pet that they wanted to have.
Well, you know, I think, you know, the biggest thing for me is just, you know, I grew up with it. It's something that I'm used to having around. And, you know, right now I'm by myself, live by myself. So, you know, I think it'd be cool to have a dog around.
All right. Third thing that our viewers do not know about you.
I think the third thing is, you know, since I got down to Charlotte, I found a sushi place that's down the street from my apartment. It's, you know, one of my favorite places to eat. I don't know quite what it is, but, you know, over the last year or two, sushi's been something that I've really, you know, really enjoyed. I go there, you know, once a week on a Friday after we're done with practice, and, you know, that's kind of my thing.
So that's your routine on Fridays. What is your meal routine before a game?
Meal routine before a game. So, you know, we wake up and I get down to breakfast about 9 o'clock for most of our games, and you just go down there and usually have a spread of chicken, steak, some pasta with some red sauce, and, you know, get some fruits and vegetables in there too.
Sounds like a lot to run on. Good energy there. All right, before we let you go, Luke, we got our extra point. This is one question that a viewer tweets into us. This one's from Wilson, and he wants to know, how many different variations of your last name have you heard, and what's been the worst? And obviously he's referring to the complex spelling of Kuechly.
Well, you know, I've heard quite a few of them. You know, you grow up and, you know, playing sports, and even, you know, in the classroom at school, you know, it's anything that starts with K and ends in an LY saying you kind of respond to. But Kuechly, Kuechly, it's kind of anything, like I said, that starts with K and ends in LY. They've kind of jumbled it around in between there.
As a Czarniak, I can certainly relate. Luke Kuechly, thank you so much for joining us here on Pick Six. Best of luck this weekend.
Thank you. Thank you very much.